Alright, shalom, shalom. I'm the brother Maracabdo. But first and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rukakadash. Double honors to apostles and elders of Great Millstone and the Akim out there that pushing this truth with nothing but sincerity in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. And if I didn't say double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. So with that, I wanted to speak about 1144. And I wanted to speak about not to have that offensive spirit on you, that bitch ass spirit though of getting offended quickly though, because when you come into this truth though, there's a lot of things that you got to take in, because in Galatians the 4th chapter, the 16th verse, I believe so, it talks about how am I your enemy because I tell you the truth, because the world teaches you a bunch of bullshit though, man, a bunch of philosophies that makes you go off as a man, especially an Israelite man. So therefore, you gotta become a new creature when you come into this word though. You know what I'm saying though? Like how we all did, all the brethren out there, we all had to drop things in the world to not bring it into this ministry though, because there's a lot of things though that me personally too, like I said, like I had to shake off though, and I couldn't just bring it into this truth though, And like I said though, like I said, when you come into this truth though, you have to not have that bitch ass attitude of taking everything offensive though, because some people do take it offensive though, man. Even at that though, when you especially in the truth, right, you got to take rebuke though, if you're going off on a certain topic though, on certain things though, especially in the scriptures though, in the Bible though, man, you got to learn how to take rebuke though, because brethren are just telling you, like correcting you, man. You know what I'm saying though? It's like your biological father, when you go do something though, and the fact of the matter is that you don't do it right though, your biological father is gonna check you and tell you this though. So what is it more any different from a brethren that's in the truth though, telling you, hey, this and that though. I mean, I know there's ways to tell you something though, but if it's like you keep repeating it, if you're how Esau likes to say, repeat offender. If you keep doing it again and again and again though, then it's like, come on, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what? The spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai is not in you, so we gotta give you your papers though, man. And that's the thing about it though, man. And even being in the truth though, and maneuvering in the world though, you gotta also take not offensive towards what people say to do to you, man. You know what I'm saying though? And that's the thing about it though, man, because these new young niggas though, they like to use the word crash out, and you can't be a crash out though, man, especially in this word though, and also too going into the world though, man, you can't be a crash out also in the world though, man. You talk about you coming in the truth, right? Like who your enemy is, you're an Israelite though. You be saying, man, fuck Esau, like that fucking deacon Hakah, whatever, when he punched that Edomite, or what do you want to call it, a punch though? It was a weak ass punch anyways though. Like crashing out, like so-called crashing out like that. It was just like, why would you put it up in video though, man? You see what I'm saying though? And then if he was even with Great Millstone, I know a brethren, an elder, or even apostles would have told his ass, hey, take that down, like what the fuck you doing, But see, that guy are the fucking are Eli's fucking children. They're rebellious ass kids though, man, and they don't like to take correction though, man. So that's why, and that's the thing about it though. So that's the spirit that those guys are on too though. They're in though. They take offensive everything. You know what I'm saying though? They take offensive everything though. So therefore, what do? They break away and they make their own thing though. Why? Because they got that big spirit of offensive though, man. And that's the thing about it though. So being in the truth though, you can't take that. You can't bring that offensive spirit of being offended all the fucking time though, you know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta take a rebuke though. Here is Esau, you're in his courtroom though, and he's so-called correcting you. You're in his courtroom shutting the fuck up though, ain't saying shit to the judge, right? But then when a brother and you see one of us though, that look like you though, telling you the correct way, they're being rebellious though. But then damn well you're all quiet when you're in Esau's courtroom though, man. You're there like a little bitch though, wearing a fucking tie and shit, sitting right there, and he's telling you what the fuck though, or your sentences though. Oh, you're right there quiet as a fucking mouse though, right? But when a brother that looks like you tell you what it is though, your ass wants to rebel though, man. But you know that's our people, man. That's Israel though, you know. So that's the thing about it, you know. Sometimes you gotta learn to take rebuke though, man. We're not sometimes though. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take rebuke though, man. Especially someone that's righteous though. You get what I'm saying though? So like I said, in this ministry, in this walk though, you gotta learn how to maneuver, man. Especially in the world though. So this is Matthew's 5 and 39. Oh, Slakia. Let me get it again. Matthew's 5 and 39. It says, "But I say unto you that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn to him other also." You see? So the thing about it though is, it doesn't mean like, you know, it doesn't mean like literal, man. You know, you gotta let that go, man. If someone does something to you though, you gotta let it go though, man. But at the same time, you know, these Christians though say that, oh, you know, like what I hear though from these people is like someone could literally just walk up to you and slap you on your cheek though, and then you automatically gotta turn the other cheek though, so they can slap you on another one. But that's not even the case though, man. Cause damn well though, you have an Edomite, a fucking heathen, try to slap me though, I'm gonna do what I gotta do though as a man. But at the same time though, this is more. It goes deeper than that though, man. This is talking about your, you know, Israelite brother, man. Does some shit to you, man. I'm not saying like literally slap you in your face though, but I'm saying if he does, if an Israelite brother does something to you, man, though, or whatever the case be, let it go, man. You know what I'm saying? Let that shit go. You know, and that's the case with what it is talking about though, man. Because when even when it goes down to where it says love your enemy, 5 and 44. It says Matthew 5 and 44. It says, "But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you." See, and it's not talking about, when you're talking about your enemies, it's talking about the Israelites, though, man. It's not talking about the heathen. It's not talking about Edomites, though. These fucking Ammonites. It's not talking about these Arabs, though. It ain't talking about them. It's talking about you love your enemies. It's talking about your Israelite brother, man. You know what I'm saying, though? Because that's the thing about it, though, man. Like, I just give a quick testimony though. For example, me, I was working as a gardener, landscape, a couple years back though, and I fucking didn't like my supervisor, and it was two of them though. The top dude was cool, but it was the supervisor though, his supervisor under him though. I didn't like him and shit, I didn't like him and shit though. You know what I'm saying? He was just giving bad calls, and he was just like, he wasn't really literally going after me and shit, because he knew damn well that like I was doing my work and shit though. But it was like, to them it was like they wanted us to kiss ass towards them and shit, and I ain't no ass kisser and shit, especially to a motherfucker that, you know what I mean, a motherfucker that's just a man, and and he's not even in the truth though, he's not even a brother in though, and he's just a fucking man. You know what I'm saying though? We don't ass kiss over here, man. We don't ass kiss over here, man. So that's the thing about it though. So because I wasn't an ass kisser, so he just like to do his own rules and shit, right? So I was getting, oppressed by this dude though, man. Not just me though, other people too, But the thing about it though is, like I said though, man, I could have put curses on dude though, but I never did though. You know what I'm saying though? I never did though. It was just bad management, man. In reality, it was just bad management. But I could have put curses on dude though, but I just didn't though. To this day, I never did though. You know what I mean? But he's an Israelite though. But at the same time, like I said, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna put. But what I did do is put a curse on that whole restaurant, on that whole place though, because it wasn't only just bad management in my department though, but in different departments though, it was bad management though, So I said, man, fuck this place, man. I put a curse on that place though, but I didn't put a direct curse on dude though. You know what I'm saying though? Because that's the thing about it though, man. Yeah, he would persecute me, he would oppress me and shit though, but at the same time, it was just like, sometimes I gotta, put this shit to the side though. And that works with patience though, man. And that worked with patience though, Because, you know what I mean? Like I said, like, in the circumstances that I was in, I was the only one working though. I was the only one paying bills though. I had family, I had to pay bills and all this shit though. So sometimes you gotta suck it up though and let it be though, man. And you might look, at the end of the day, you might look like the punk though, or whatever the case be though. But guess what though? That worked with patience though, you know what I'm saying though? And the thing about it though is, like I said, I'm not the type though to, like I said, I would take dude to the side though and be like, hey, you know what? I don't like this and this and that though. Okay, he correspond though and shit though. But because like I said, I was an ass kisser, then he would go back to it though and do some stupid ass shit though. You see what I'm saying though? So that's how it was though, man. And that's how it was though. You know what I'm saying though? And sometimes, like I said, you gotta take punches to the chin though. You know what I mean? And things like that though, because if you're like somebody that like to crash out and think at the moment or do things, take action at the moment though, your ass gets into a lot of predicaments, man. You know what I'm saying though? And it's just like, man, I should have thought about it through though, you know. So, and in this word though, you gotta be, you gotta be cool, man. You know what I'm saying though? Because it tells you in Matthew's the 10th chapter. Slovakia, let me guess. You gotta be like sheep though, you know. Matthew 10 and 16 it says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep though in the midst of wolves." You know, we are like we are the sheep though, man, and we're in this world though where it's surrounded by wolves and shit, man. So it's like, you know what I mean though? It's like, damn, you know, but we still gotta maneuver smart though, you know, because it says, "Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." You know, we gotta be harmless as doves. We can't be just crashing out and shit like that, man. You see what I'm saying though? Because we look at in our people, we look at this heathen. You know, we got the spirit of, because don't get us wrong though. Before we came in the truth, you know, we crash out though. You know what I'm saying though? We crash out though. And that's just the thing about it though. You know what I'm saying though? Because don't get me wrong, man. There's times though where, you know what I mean, motherfucker pushes me and shit though. And I'm like right there, just like, man, you know, just my fist though, man. Like, you know, I'm not gonna swing though, but I'm just like the anger though, you know. But like I said though, you know, I feel like the Lord gave me a family though to keep me, you know, also more balancing though, you know, than His truth though, more even balanced though, you know. So I think the Father for that, you know, Yahweh Shem Shai for that, you know, because you know it's a good balance though too, you know, when it comes to that though, you know. So so that's the thing though, you know. So when you come into this truth though, man, you gotta have a patience though, you know. You gotta have a patience though, man, and you can't be someone that they tell you something though, and then you take it as a rebuke though. It's a rebuke though, but at the same time, it's like they're telling you what it is though, you know. Because even the Most High, within our people though, he rebukes them. You know, he rebukes us though. You know what I mean? Because I'll get Amos 3, I believe it's Amos 3 and 7 though, right? Actually, it's Amos 3 and 2. It says, "You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquity." See, because the Most High loves us so much though that He puts us through hell though, man. You see what I'm saying though? But that's real love though. He rebuked us by what? Putting us to slavery. Because why? Because we went off as a nation though. You know what I'm saying? But it says, "You only have I known of all the families of the earth though." So that's what? Separation though. That because He has loved us though, man. Because we loved us, He loved us though, and we went off as His people. Therefore, He's gonna punish us. He's gonna go hard out on us though. You know what I'm saying though? Because it's like if you have a son, right? He's 15, and he's with his friend, right? And he's tagging a wall, right? And you catch him and shit. You just happen to be driving by. You catch them tagging. You're gonna pull up, and you're gonna see your son, and you're gonna be like, "Hey, jump in. You get in. You go home. I don't give a fuck about you. But you come into my car." And he's gonna go in your car, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna chastise him and tell him what the fuck you doing. You know what the hell you doing? You know this and that though. You're gonna get him in trouble. And the other guy, his friend, you don't give a fuck about that little nigga. But you're gonna tell your son to chastise him though. But the other, his friend, you're not gonna give a damn though, because that's not even your son. I mean, you could tell him like here and there, advise him and shit though. But who are you gonna get in trouble? Your own son. See, and that's the Most High with us though. He gets us in trouble when we rebel though. You know what I'm saying though? But when you come into this truth though, like I said, we're a people of rules and regulations though. You know what I'm saying? We're commandments though, man. We got statutes and commandments though. We're our people like that. So therefore, when our people, so that's what I'm telling you though. When our people, going back to, you know what I'm saying though, like our people love your enemy though. It's because when you look at our people, they don't know the statutes and commandments, so they're rebelling as a child though, you know, or like a child though. Like when you see a child fatherless though, and you want like, oh, he's like that because there's no father in the household. You know what I'm saying though? There's no father in the household. That's why he's rebelling like that. You know what I'm saying though? But when it comes to the other nations, this heathen though, like Esau, the wicked, it tells you in the scriptures though, when he comes out of the womb, when he's a stranger out of the womb, he's already wicked though. So with them, it's like, nah. You guys are fucking naturally wicked though, man. You know what I'm saying though? Nah, fuck you niggas. But when it comes to our people, they just rebelling because they don't got the statutes and commandments though. They don't got the spirit though. So therefore, they're just rebellious because that's the way they are, man. It's like they're fatherless though. You know, we know our Father Yahweh Shem Shai because we got the truth now. You know what I'm saying though? So therefore, we got to maneuver more differently than these other people and shit though, man. You see what I'm saying though? So that's the way it is though. You know, because even when you come into this truth, right? When you come into this truth though, you can't just bring that old worldly shit though. That's why Sakari was made. You know what I'm saying? Genesis though, because they're rebelling against what the leader was saying though. You know what I'm saying though? So therefore it's like let them niggas be their own crew and shit. You see what happens though, man. You know what I'm saying though? So like I said, when you come into this truth though, there's rules and regulations that you gotta follow, man. You gotta abide with them, you know? So if you can't follow rules and regulations though, man, man, you're gonna get kicked out of a camp though or something, you know? Or the brothers are not gonna deal with you no more though. How they used to be. You know? Because like I said, even in the scriptures right here, I'll get Matthew 18 and 15, it says, Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. See? So that's like, you know, like I was saying though, right? Like I was saying, right? You know, you have a brother, right? In the truth though, he say something or does something though, you know, and you pull him to the side, like, hey brother, you know, like, you know, I just didn't, you know, I'm gonna talk to you man to man, you know, I just didn't like the this and that though, and you know what I'm saying though, and you know, I'm just bringing you the cause of why I didn't like though, you know what I'm saying though. So talk to you as a man, you know, better than, you know. So that's what I'm saying. So that's a rule, better than going to another brother. Hey brother, this brother did this and that though. I didn't like that shit. You know what I'm saying though? That's that sneaky devil shit, man. That's a woman trait right there. Gossiping and shit behind someone's back and shit though, you know? Cause I got a cousin that be doing that shit, man. I told him he sound like a bitch though, man, when he does that shit. That's a bitch made move. You know what I'm saying? Be real and tell him to the fucking face how you feel. You know what I'm saying though? And but you can't bring that type of energy into the truth though, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if you have a fault, you have something like a brother did that you didn't like though, you didn't say those or something though that kind of, you know, grind your gear a little bit though. Pull the brother to the side, like, hey brother, you know, this and that, you know, just bring you the matter to you, you know, what the matter is to, you know, and just bring it to him so you could talk it out though, because it's like if you guys have a fallout, they say this brother says something though, well, I'm not gonna mess with this brother no more because he said this. Then that wasn't even your brother to begin with though, man. Because a true brethren, you know what I mean? You're not gonna try, like, you know, you it's like a relationship with your woman, right? Like you work hard to have that relationship between you and your woman, right? In the beginning and shit, you know, you try to get her, you know what I'm saying? Though you doing a lot of things, going through these obstacles to get the woman though, you know. So when it comes to a brethren, why not, you know, get through those obstacles too though, to, you know, to have that healthy relationship between you brethren, you know, because even with the disciples and apostles and the disciples, Yahweh Shai had his favorite, which is John, you know, which was John. You know what I'm saying though? And there was incident that happened though with Paul and Peter. They got into it though, you know, but in the book of Peter's though, Peter acknowledged Paul though, that, hey, you know, this guy, you know, he's with it, you know, like he has a spirit though, you know. Even the book of Peter acknowledged Paul though, you know, for his spirit though, you know what I'm saying though. So you know, like I said, even with them though, there's things that happen between them though, but they were still good though, you know what I'm saying though. And I believe, you know, like the disciples didn't feel some type of way. Or was it though? No, I don't believe there's that Yahweh Shai, his favorite was John. You know what I'm saying though? Like the other ones felt offended though. Look at him, man. That's his favorite. God damn, man. You know what I'm saying though? That's his favorite though. He's gonna love him though. See, and that's the spirit of bitchiness though, man. To be in though. You know what I'm saying though? If this brother is close to another brother, hey man, you should be happy for that, man. Hey, you brothers have a good relationship, man. That's what's up though, man. You know what I'm saying though? Like for example though, like today I'm camping though by myself though. And the brethren are camping, they camped in Stratford today, I believe so. Am I gonna be hating on the brothers because they camp together though, and I'm over here camping alone? Nah, man. It's like, hey, brothers, at least brothers out there doing the work though, as much as I am doing the work too though. So it's like, why would I hate on the, when so I'm talking about Camp Cosmos, I'm a Juan and Coacto, them, we sometimes we camp together, sometimes we can't. And that's the way it is though. My situation is more on the funny situation for the gas though, but I mean, it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? It is what it is though, the walk though, the walk of a servant though, man. We go through things, but at the end of the day, hey, love the brethren, man, because, like I said, brethren, they know, like, if I'm able to make it out there with them, I'll go out there with them, man. In a heartbeat though. But my situation is just like, fuck, man, I'm not so far away from them, but I'm not the closest either to the brethren. Because trust me, if I was with the brethren, lived in the same town with the brethren, or close to the brethren, even closer, man, I'll be with them though. But that's not the case. I live way more fucking over here, man. And that's the thing about it though. So if the brethren are camping together though, hey, I'm happy for them, But I can't have that bitch spirit of brothers over there camping though. Why didn't they come over here to Avenal? Because that's where I'm at right now. I'm out with that bitchy ass attitude. Why didn't the brothers come over here to Avenal camp with me, huh? That's a disgusting spirit to be in, man. So, anyways, going back to the scriptures, right? It says, but if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. See? So, you bring out like 2 more brothers, or 3 more brothers, or one or 2 more, you hear the matter, like pretty much, like it's like holding counsel, right? It's like holding counsel. Like, hey, what's it called though? It's this, this whole counsel, of this matter though right here, and see who's right and who's wrong, So, continuing, it says, and he will neglect, and if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it into the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican. See, if you don't if you're wrong for the matter that you brought up though, and the other brother, and you're like, nah, brother, like that matter and this situation, this subject, in this situation, you're wrong for that, brother. This brother's actually right though, I mean, you can't take that in if you don't take it into consideration. But the other brethren, they heard out the matter, and if they're saying, nah, brother, like this other brother's right though, and you're wrong. You know what I mean? You can't take that. You own that offensive spirit though, offended spirit. That's what it tells you right here. You don't want to hear it. Hey, treat you as a heathen. Don't fuck with you no more, man. And trust me, you don't want to be treated as a heathen, because to the brethren, you're fucking no good. And I understand that, man. I understand that. You know what I mean? So we thought back a couple years back though, 2-3 years ago, I think it was 3 years ago, we thought we had a good fish, but it ended up being a bad fish. When the story that happened was, dude, was walking by, and I believe it was Passover, and I think he started talking to us, and then he started coming out here to camp though with us brethren over there in Lemoore. He started hearing us out, he was behind the cameras, we thought he was diligent, and I believe we even gave him a Hebrew name. And then like I said though, and then one day I kind of saw the spirit that he was, throughout the time. I kind of saw the spirit that he wasn't really feeling it anymore, because it was that one time, and I'm glad me and the brother Mawan just talked about it, bro. That good thing he didn't give him a garment. I'm like, well, I was gonna say the brother too, like, hey brother, like I was gonna tell the brother too, like, well, let him start a channel and let him, what I'm saying though, like build himself up though, because it's already as it is though. We gave him a Hebrew name, right? So to give him a garment, it's like, hey, that brother's playing like a player out here with us, you know. But it's like, nah, let dude build. I was gonna tell the brother, and you know, good thing the brother didn't give him a garment. I was gonna tell the brother, and then have a YouTube channel and see what he does with it. If he see if he's actually even diligent with this, though, you know. So, anyways, the last day he was, you know, hearing so-called hearing us out. He was sitting out on the curb though, and the brother in Amawan had told him like, hey, you know, like, well, he didn't tell him directly, but he was pretty much throwing it out there, and he did though, saying, hey, if you were up here with us though, you'd be standing up and taking notes though, because the dude, I think his name is Raimundo, which he is the fucking world anyways. He was sitting down on the curb though, and he had his legs closed like a hyena and shit, man, like a girl. So that was his cue. He got up though, turned in his papers pretty much though, and walked away. You know? So I don't know if it's the brother what he said that was offended though to him. If it was, that it was best for him to leave anyways. You know what I'm saying? Because that would be no reason for anybody to get up and walk away though, if it was a true man, because it was true what the brother I'm the one I said though. If you're right here though, you should be standing up though, not having your fucking legs closed and like, you know what I'm saying though? Like sitting like a girl, shit, man. And I don't know if dude got offended because of that, but even if he did though, so be it though, man. Get your fucking ass out of here then. You know what I'm saying though? So that's what I'm talking about though, man. So it just things like that it was just like, man, like you took it offended like a bitch like that, man. You walked away. Man, you weren't meant for this though, man. And I'm glad that you're bad fish though, and we threw you back into the sea, which is the world, man. Like this motherfucker ain't no good. Well, the Most High did that actually though, man. You know what I'm saying though? He threw you back in. You're a bad fish though. He just threw you back into the sea, man. You know. So, anyways, let me get a Proverbs. Proverbs 6:19. It says, "A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren." So this is something that the Most High hates, though, right? This is something that the Most High hates, though, right? Because there's 6 things that the Most High hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination to him. And I'll jump down to 19. It says, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that sows discord among brethren. See? Someone that, because what sows discord of the brethren? A motherfucker that makes other brethren go against each other, though. You know what I'm saying, though? You know, instead of, like I said, that's what happens a lot, though, when someone talks behind someone's back and shit, though, man. Hey, brother, like, this guy, this and this and that, though, man. This guy, this and this and that, though, man. Like, what's up with this, though? You know what I mean? What's up with this, though? You know, like, this and this and that, though. All that dude is doing when he's talking behind someone's brother's back, though, is discording against the brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? And the Most High hates that. So, it's better for you to be up front, though. And like I said, just pull a brother to the side real quick, though. You know what I mean? Hey, brother, you know, this and that, though. But not. You want to be on that gossip, not gospel, but gossip shit, though. And talk behind a brother's back, though. You know what I mean? And, you know, like I said, man, that's wicked, though, man. Because here is a good brother, though, that comes in, right? You know, here's a good brother in that comes in, right? Comes in, you know what I mean? He shakes her hand. He comes in, he shakes her hand, though. You know what I mean? You over here, oh, shalom, like if you're all cool with him, but you have said such and such about this brother to another brother and shit, though, man. Man, get the fuck out of here with that, man. If you don't got the balls to say something to the brother, though, or pull him to the side, though, then I don't want to fucking hear it, though. You know what I'm saying, though? Because here is this brother, like, you know, when you come with the camp, though, there should be trust, though, in the camp, though. You know, there should be like a lot of trust, though. There should be trust in the camp, though. You know, there shouldn't be no 50% of trust, though. And like I said, the Most High hates false witness, though, man. A fucking liar, man. You know what I'm saying, though? And you know, you being in the truth, though, why would it be called being in the truth, though? Because there's no false, though. You know, there shouldn't be no lies in it. You know what I mean? So that's just the way it is, though, man. And like I said, though, man, you can't be doing that shit, though, man. Especially in the ministry, though, man. So if that's something that the Most High hates, though, is a motherfucker that gossips, though, and ain't gonna, you know what I mean? Because that's the thing. If someone was gonna tell me, it's like if someone was gonna tell me something about a brother, I'd be like, hey, bro, well, he's right there. Whatever you're telling me, go tell him over there. Don't be over here fucking telling me that. Look, the matter of the king is, oh, I want to tell you, though. No, but you need to tell him and see how it works out between you guys, though. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because he's a good brother, though, and he's doing the righteous acts of the Most High though, and then here you are, okay, gonna say something about that though. You know what I'm saying though? Get the fuck out of here with that, man. We don't need that type of energy here in the camp though, you know? So I understand why GMS though, kicks people out though, man. For that type of things like that, you know? You know what I'm saying? And if you're a brethren that's doing discord among the brethren, man, sowing discord among brethren, man, that's some Esau shit, man. You don't even belong in the camp, though, man. If anything, you put to death for that shit, man. You know? So, because it tells you in the commandments, though. It tells you in the commandments, though, you should not be a false witness, though. And that's a liar. That's a commandment, though. You know, you're not supposed to be lying, though, man. You know? So, let me get Proverbs 9 and 8. It says, reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. See? Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Scorner goes into what is it, a marker, scoffer. See? Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Yeah, because, you telling them what it is, though. Like, hey, bro, you know what? You're right, bro. Like, you're telling me this and that, though. It's for a reason. It's because of the fact that you're right, though, man. And you're telling me all this and that, though, because you're actually looking out for me, though, man. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, though? Because a wise man will take in consideration that rebuke, though, and be like, oh shit, you know what? You are right, though, bro. You're right, because it says, reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Yeah, and that's a lot of things of people of the world, though, man. You over here telling them this and this and that, though. Like, for example, you got next week fucking Thanksgiving and shit, though. You tell the people the truth. You tell them this and that, and that's just wicked, though. They'll fucking hate you for the truth, though, man. Because they don't want to hear upon those truths, though, man. They're comfortable with lies, though, man. They're comfortable with lies, though. So they rather not even hear the truth, though, because they're so comfortable with lies. You know what I'm saying, though? And that's the people of the world, man. You see what I'm saying, though? You tell people don't celebrate Thanksgiving because that goes all into these Edomites slaughtering your old brother tribe, though, from Gad, though. Gad from the tribe, though. So you're over here celebrating their Esau's killings to the Indians, though. You see what I'm saying? Here you are celebrating this white man's fucking pagan ass holiday. Call it a holiday. It's not even a true holy day. You know what I'm saying, though? And the thing about it, though, is you're celebrating this motherfucker's massacre to your own brethren, Gad, though. People will hate you for that, man. Well, I ain't Indian, I'm just there for the food. I'm just like my woman says, oh, I'm just for the food, though. Fuck out of here with that, man. But that's not right, though, man. You know what I'm saying, though? Let's say they would have killed your father, though, on, let's say, February 19, right? They killed your father February 19. And they're over here eating. I'm not celebrating the death of your father, though. I just happen to have these gatherings with my family and these people, though, and eating, though, you know? What's wrong with that? And you're going to feel some type of way because it's like, well, you're still getting together and eating food on this day that he died, though. You wouldn't like that shit. So what makes you think so-called Native Americans like that shit too, man? But because what? Because they're not out and about, though, and protesting, though, not pushing the issue. Because Esau, you almost wiped them out, though, completely, though. But there's it is, though. So the smart thing is to come out here and tell the truth to all these people, though, man. You see what I'm saying, though? Because, like I said, these people are comfortable with lies, though, man. They're comfortable with lies, though. And that's the thing, man. Comfortable with lies. You're never gonna. You're that fucking what's that called, though? That frog in the pot, though, cooking up, though. You're just there, not even noticing shit, though, you know. But then by the time you realize, oh shit, it's hot in here, you're fucking done, though. And that's just Americans, though. You see what I'm saying, though? So let me get So yeah, so because that's the thing about it, though, you know. So our people don't want to take a rebuke, though, man. They're comfortable with the lies, though. You know what I'm saying, though? Because it says rebuke a wise man and he will love you. Yeah, because you telling him what it is, though. He gonna love you, though, for that. Hey, bro, like, you know what? Like, you're actually looking out for me, man. You're actually looking out for me, though, man. You're telling me all this and that, though. You're actually looking out for me, man. And a wise man would take that in consideration, though, man. When you see someone's fall, or when I see someone fall out the truth, though, I'm not there like, yeah, fuck that, haha, that's what he gets, though. I'm like, oh shit, man, like, that puts fear in me to be like, man, that shit could happen to me too, man. If I don't, you know what I'm saying? I better be straight, man. I better be examine myself, you know, because the way I see situations though, when someone falls off or something happens though, it's like it puts fear in me though, you know. I'm like, damn, you know what happened to this guy? This brother been was so-called brother was in the truth for like 10, 15 years and he just fell out. Damn, man. Hey, Hebrews 10 and 31. It's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living power though. You know, because things like that could happen though, man. And like, damn, you know, like those Mississippi misfits, what they call them, the two Mississippi misfits. I believe one of them was the elder. Actually, I was actually subscribed to that elder, one of the elders though, you know. And look what happened to dude. I think he was in the truth and his right mind for like what, 10 years, 15 years, I believe. But he was like an elder though. And look what fucking happened to dude though. So that's a fearful thing though. That can happen to any of us though, man. You know what I'm saying though? So that's the thing about it though, man. So you gotta learn how to take rebuke though, man. Because in the book of Nehemiah, remember there was a situation where he was grabbing people, plucking their hair out, you know, slapping them and shit though. Because why? Because they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing, man. You know what I'm saying though? Because they remember they were building the second temple. You know what I'm saying though? But you know, he was telling them what it is though, but they were still caught up in their old, like, you know, because they were, I believe it was the Persians' captivity though. So whatever practices they had over there though, they're trying to bring it to the second temple though, you know, when they were building it though. But Nehemiah had to check him and shit, you know. He was rough though. He had to be rough though, man. And that's the thing about it there, within our people are so fucking drunk in this Babylon juice though, this wine though, it's like, you know what I'm saying? No, I mean, we're not gonna be like a Nehemiah though and grab them and start flicking their hair and shit, nothing like that. We're not gonna do that. But at the same time, we're out here telling them what it is though, with our voice though, man. Standing here bold though, telling them what it is though. You know what I'm saying though? And if they take offensive for what we're saying though, hey, let them, so be it though, man. You know, let them be Lot's wife though. That's okay. Burn in this bitch though, man. So, and that's the thing about it though, man. So, I'll get this last precept right here. Book of Matthew 14 and 27. It says, but straightway Yahushua spake unto them, saying, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bade me come unto thee on the water. And he said, come. And when Peter was come down of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Yahushua. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and began to sink, and he cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Yahushua stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, where thou doubt? You know? So, you know, like I said, Yahweh, that was pretty much like a faith, right? He pretty much told him, hey, you have faith though, you sinking because you don't have the faith though, man. You know what I'm saying though? So in this truth, like I said, in this truth though, in this word though, if you don't have faith though, then you know what I mean, this ain't for you though, man. You know what I'm saying though? Because in order to believe something though, you gotta have faith with it, you know? 100% though, faith. You know? So if you're someone that, imagine if you're someone that gets offended so quick though, man, there's motherfuckers that get offended because we tell them Yahushua is a so-called black man. We tell them Yahushua's real name, not Jesus, to cut that name Jesus off, they get offended because of that. You tell them, hey, don't celebrate these holidays because they're not even, first of all, they're not even biblical, and second of all, it is of the fucking white man. They get offended. They get offended though when we tell them that America's gonna get destroyed by ICBM missiles though. We tell them what it is though. Motherfuckers get offended. So if you get offended from all these things that I just said right now though, guess what? You are of little faith. You don't even have the faith though, better yet though. So guess what? Your ass is gonna get destroyed within this though, man. So like I said, my lesson is about not having that bitch ass attitude though, coming into this truth though, man. Because you gotta maneuver in this truth though, and also in the world though, man. You know what I'm saying though? Because if you I get offended so quick though, spirit though, man, then you're gonna have a bad trip though, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You're not gonna like it though. So with that, you know, hopefully this camp was edifying. I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Makakudash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders who I learned this truth from. So with that, you know, Shalom.